In the last video, we were working on adding our properties panel to our rectangle. We realized that the way we were writing the code was going to wind up with a whole bunch of duplicated code, so we put a method inside of drawing main so that all of the different drawables could access it. If we wanted to, we could even utilize the special visibility settings that we've worked with, and I could put this, make it private drawing, which means that it can only be seen in this package. So then draw rectangle can access the method, and draw text will be able to access the method, but outside code couldn't. I can change this here to X field, and it's not hard once we have this written to expand out, and we have a Y field that starts off as Y, and the Y is string value. We're going to have a width field, width, 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 and last up is a height field. Okay. It's pretty easy to add those into the GUI here. Y field, width field, height field. The last property that we have in here that we have our X, Y, width, height is the color. Okay? And we'd like to look at this because it's interesting to ask, how are we going to set our color? Well, it turns out that ScalaFX has a nice thing in it called a color picker under controls. And the color picker, as the name implies, is a component type, a node, that you can add in, which allows you to pick colors. Okay, so I should then be able to come into here, and I should create something, maybe call it a color picker, and it will be equal to a new color picker, and we're going to pass it our color. I can also add that down here. Now, just having it doesn't change our color. It'll bring up something graphical. We need to make it so that when they pick something in there, it actually changes the color that we're using, and then hopefully make it so we can draw. So color picker dot. Well, when they do this, it's going to create an onAction event. So we can say onAction equals an action event rocket. I want to say color is going to be changed to color picker dot value, and then I can use the parentheses, or I could have put dot value dot value. It's kind of up to you how you want to do that. And once again, if this happens, we should redraw the drawing. We just don't have the ability to do that quite yet. Oh, it's interesting to see, what is this going to look like? So let's go ahead and let's run this, and we can click on the transform, and we can add a rectangle. And if we look at the rectangle, sure enough, there you go. And I can change things, and it's actually changing stuff in the rectangle, but the rectangle's never being redrawn. And at this point, the only way that we have to force a redraw is actually to add something else in here. You can see now our rectangle did change how it was drawn. So these things were actually saved. It became red and has a width of 200. So that part of the code is actually functional. It's doing what it's supposed to. We're just missing the fact that when we change these things, it should automatically update in the drawing. We can pretty quickly now, we have these things inside of our rectangle. our text has a lot of the same stuff. Okay. We should also come up here and get this properties panel, because the text is going to need that as well. We don't have a width and a height, so I'm going to delete one of them, and I'm going to change the other one to say text. I need to import action event. Okay, and the VBox should have hopefully gotten imported as well. Text. This one's text, but I don't need to say toString. And this one will be text, which should not be set to a double. It should just be set to S. We do have a color here. We no longer have a width field or a height field. We have a text field. And let's see, what is this line unhappy about? Found a, does our import up here? Force it to recompile. Found a JavaFX color required. Oh, I know why. We are missing that all important import that I've mentioned before. ScalaFX dot includes dot underscore. When I first mentioned this, I said that a big part of it is it converts from the JavaFX stuff to the ScalaFX stuff, which is why this had an error, because technically this is giving us a color from JavaFX, and there are the conversions that make it work for our ScalaFX. Okay, so now our text has properties that we can change. Once again, the drawing, that's not going well. I guess I could uncomment all of those if actually there is, I have a drawing.draw, I just don't have access to a drawing. We should talk about how we're going to get a drawing inside of our rectangle and our text. We'll stop here, we'll come back, we'll deal with that later, but the first thing we're actually going to do is work on our draw transform. We need to not only give it a properties panel, we just need to figure out what a transform is and how it works. So we'll come talk about that in the next video.